Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog, and this is going to be another fairly quick video, and one I hope to do multiple in this series. This is going to be sort of a good spots to fish for Mosquito Lake, which and we'll say this is part one. I do want to sort of hold the right to add additional spots as we move forward. But if you look at when you first start out, of course you start at the Cottage Pond, but you quickly end up at Mosquito Lake. Both of these are free to travel, both of these locations. When you get to the next area, you start to actually pay to travel. But I haven't done one yet on the Cottage Pond, which we can do, but it's so small, it's kind of obvious where some spots are there. But there's a couple of spots I want to highlight here for Mosquito Lake. And as I've talked about in previous videos, most likely what you're going to be doing when you first start out to earn some early silver so that you can start to purchase the upgrades and gear that you want for the different types of fishing, it's very likely that you'll be doing some float fishing early. And so this spot right here, which I suppose, let's see if I can kind of identify on the map. I suppose this is the little beachfront here. And so you've got access to some deeper spots of water, but a lot of it is also shallow. But from here, I just really like this spot. By the way, the other spot we're going to show, I'll go ahead and highlight here, is over at the camp. And this is just an area where there's a lot of room to move around. There's some other reasons why I like this spot, but this is my favorite spot. And for float fishing, just right over here in this alcove, you pretty much can't make a mistake where you put it over here. You can get lots of fish. You can go closer to the shore. You can actually go further out to the edge there, but we'll have lots of action there. The other thing I want to show you, however, and this is actually a newly assembled feeder setup. I also like to do our feeders in this direction. We've got bread on this line, so let's just kind of throw this out here. It did go in the water. And then just sort of turn this, get some slack in it. And we'll put a second one out. We won't put all three out, but we'll put a second one out. It should be enough to at least get a bite or two from both float fishing as well as feeder fishing in this area. That also landed in the water. You always got to make sure you do run the risk of possibly landing in something that you could break a line on or something. So let's go ahead and pick this up. I believe that we may have something on here. Okay, so it looks like the fish, well, this is embarrassing. The line is torn. So the fish actually, I'll have to put a feather float on for now. The fish actually took it off to the side there. We've got another size 12 hook, which is a little large, but it works fine. We'll put some more worms on here. So that has not happened to me before. I think the fish took it in the weeds maybe and got it caught. But I have done this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I've never had that happen. So it's just at the break of day here. We really should be having some bites, but you got to watch it over in this area. You will definitely see the fish coming in pretty quickly. And so normally what I'll do is I'll get at least 2 float fishing going, and well, that is according to how many feeders I have. You can always go up to a line and hit G just to kind of look at the status, make sure the bait's still on there, which it is. We've got bread and worm out. Then of course over here we've got a worm. But a lot of times I will, if I'm focusing on float, then I'll put 2 or 3 floats in the water, because you know, the carp especially, the many of the different species here will spend time, can't tell how aggressively he's gotten onto there. I think we should pull him out. They will spend time nibbling at it, so you really can have 2 or 3 floats in the water and still have time to go back and forth and catch most of those fish. So Let's see what height we have this at. Okay, depth's kind of, we'll put it at least at 50 for this area. Let's go ahead and put this back in the water and see what we have on our other line. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be this one. And let's try to, without letting a lot of slack in the line, let's pull it back this way. And he's fighting us a little bit. Do our break up a little bit and keep some tension to fatigue the fish. And these are our smaller lines. Actually, our nicest feeder pole is the one that we don't have out, and it has by far our nicest reel on it, and our heavy duty line that can withstand a little heavier stuff. So we are pulling this guy right in now, and let's see what we have here. It's got a little weight to it. You can feel it, especially on this light setup. Yeah, pretty good sized carp. And of course, with feeder fishing, I know we've got another one on the other pole, but just it's efficient. You want to just go ahead and get the other one out there, and then deal with the one that's on the line. You usually have a little bit of time. Every once in a while they'll come off kind of quick, but that doesn't happen often. So let's go ahead and make sure he's on there good. And this is the one that we have on with bread on, so this is our newest setup. And I'm kind of flipping them around this way, which means it would be more efficient for us to actually turn the poles. I'll show you what I mean. Turn the poles more in this direction. And let's see what this is. What's up, Rift? Welcome today. So it's another carp. So let's throw it out this way, and I'll show you what I mean about turning the pole. I think it would actually make more sense to set these up in this direction. I just want to be careful when we're pulling them in, not to pull them through the weeds. So we'll do that for now. And of course, we've had this this thing in the water for so long, it probably has something on it. And fortunately for us, it has stayed on there. So let's go ahead and pull this guy in who's just been waiting for us to catch him. And are we struggling to get this guy out of the water here or what? All right, pretty good sized common carp. And we are fortunate that it wasn't any bigger, because we wouldn't have been able to handle it. But that is a nice carp for this area. We're excited about that. So we'll just do this for another minute or two, and then I'll show you the other spot I was talking about. We won't really fish at the other spot, but I definitely wanted to show you this spot. It is my favorite, and there actually is not anything on this pole. It must be the other one. Let's see if it's still on there. No, it's not. All right, let's go ahead and turn this pole the other direction. Got a lot of slack in it. All right, there we go. Yeah, so once again, there is... Do we think the worm is still on it? Yep, looks like it is. There we go. Pulled it right out of his mouth. And we may have pulled that a little tight. I mean, a little fast. All right, let's see if we have something on our line here, or if it's just the sensitivity of the bells and the current. They're both kind of just slightly jingling. So one thing you do, you just hit R. Well, that's definitely got something on it. If you hit R, it will give you the indication on whether or not it's a fish. Whatever that is pulling it pretty well. So now we don't have to flip around. This is just more convenient. Increase that break a little bit. He is pulling a little bit, isn't he? Let's get a look at where he is. Okay. We don't want to pull him off. I'm getting a little bit tired here. But you can kind of stay in this spot for a long time, both on the other side where I've showed you doing the float fishing, and then to this side where I like doing the bottom fishing. You can catch a lot of fish in this area, so I would definitely recommend this spot on the Mosquito Lake map. Another good fish. Yeah, we're catching some pretty good fish here today. It's great. I'm glad it worked out for our video. We're going to pick this up, and if there's not a fish, we'll go ahead and just reel it in. All right, there is not. So let's pack it up, and let me go show you the one other area. And this whole map is a circle, and it's not that big, so we're going to go around the, we'll complete the circle, which I haven't done many times, so it'll be interesting to see if we can stay on the path. And whenever I'm doing this, I try to always remember to dig for worms every once in a while. Alright, so we're basically just going to circle the river and end up over there where you see that, let's see, the camp is set up where, I think straight across here, but let's go find it. And like I said, staying on the path, or figuring out where the path might be a challenge for me. I think it's up here, maybe not. Okay, for the purposes of the video, let's just go the normal way. This is the way you would likely go from the beginning of the map to the area. So you start off right up here. We caught a really good ratio of valuable fish there for the short time we were over there. It shows you what a good spot that is here. But if you're looking for a second spot recommendation, this would be the other one. So when you start out here, you head out in the other direction, past the workshop, and once again we want to find the path here, and we will end up at the campsite. And one thing I will point out about this site, I've been able to use this if it's raining and you're worried about your comfort level. It is sometimes nice to be near the campfire, and you can start the campfire and it will increase your comfort level. You also can craft at the campfire if you have the materials. But I find this is a really good spot. You have access to deeper parts of the pond if you do want to bottom fish or spin, or even, you know, float out towards a little bit deeper areas. But a lot of times what I'll do is the feeder lines I'll just kind of throw off in that direction, right into that brush area. And I've had some good catches there as well. And this, as you can see, it just gives you a good lay of the land. And there's lots of spots that, even near that log over there, just lots of spots from here that are good. And it's sort of all close together, so you can have a lot of variety. I haven't found spots here that have been quite as much heat as the spot that I showed you first, but as a secondary location, I would recommend this. So that is my part 1 of Mosquito Lake.